Hello, Ruby Lane. Hope you're having a good day. To this next segment, we're going to talk about Daisy, the doll that came alive. And with us today is Judy Smart. Judy is one of Carmel Doll Shop and Michael and David's oldest friend, doll friend in time, not age.
You better be careful.
That's right. And we've known her for over 30 years. And she is a collector extraordinaire. She has all kinds of dolls from Ruse and Chameaux and Isana Walker. But Judy has still kept that childlike love of a pretty girl doll. That hasn't changed, has it?
No.
And one of the most beautiful girl dolls is Daisy, and one of the early 20th century's really most popular dolls. Mm-hmm. So, Judy, Daisy is not just a three-dimensional doll. She's also a paper doll, isn't she?
Yes.
So how did she begin?
Actually, she began in the Ladies' Home Journal, which had been just a column in a men's agricultural magazine published in Philadelphia in 1883. It was popular with the gals, so it became a page and then a magazine. So this is an early one from the 1895.
And I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize that magazines exist today and then for one reason only, which is to sell products.
Oh, yes.
That's why they exist. So as Ladies' Home Journal evolved, what could we find in the average journal?
You could find Welch's grape juice, Quaker oats, all these crazy things that my mom and I were laughing that are still available today, still
because
popular.
They continue to advertise. And were there also life lessons in them, stories?
Oh yes, they had lots of stories for the ladies. Mostly at the time, women were in the home, but they believed in the power of women. So they were wonderful, and the ladies liked it, so they would buy them. And so they were thinking about how can I make a little more money?
Subscriptions.
Yes, and that was popular, and they wanted to have the young people. So they decided on paper dolls. That would be fun. They hired a gal named Sheila Young to do some of the artwork and the paper dolls. And she had one, Letty Lane's Dolls Family, that became very, very popular. And
do we have, is this the family?
Yeah, that's one of the family ones. There's a lot of them in the different home journal magazines.
And this looks like it's really actually like a Kessner Gibson girl as a model of for the paper dolls.
Yeah, 1911 is what you're looking
Okay, so
at.
that's about the right time frame.
Right. Wonderful stuff. I know more about this.
Now, Judy, when you collected this ephemeral things, oh, look at that beautiful stuff. Isn't that just
gorgeous.
fabulous?
So just the magazines are a delight. I collected them so my mom and I could look at the different, stuff, and it was amazing how many things are still available today.
Your magazines are in excellent condition.
And you collected these basically, started out just to entertain yourself,
right.
But then is that where you got hooked with Sheila Young's work?
Oh yes, I loved her paper dolls.
So shall we tell them about Daisy and how it started?
Daisy started December 15th. They said, we're going to have a doll that comes alive, just to get everybody hooked. Well, it worked. And then they kept working it throughout. They were a bi-monthly paper, or magazine, and they would have little things like here. This is the last one. It says, the Letty Lane doll comes to life in the next journal. And they worked her. It was so cute.
And what was the response?
Oh, the little girls went mad. When can we have her? What is she? They didn't tell her. They didn't know if she was anything more than a paper doll. Finally, they said, you will have something that you can hold in your arms, which gave a clue that it wasn't just a paper doll, that it would be cuddly and wonderful. And
what did they have to do to get the doll?
Well, they started out, they were smart. They said, Now, don't forget to subscribe so you can keep watching for when this is going to happen. But in order to have the doll, they had to get 3 subscriptions. 2 must be new, 1 could be a renewal, and then it was $4.50, and that included sending her to get them. And they went bonkers. I mean, everybody, the girls, they had so many responses that the first $1,500 dolls just went. And they had to get more and more. So Kessner, who was the first provider of the dolls, he ran out. He ran out all the 18 inches dolls. They weren't even always her. And then Simon and Halbig and a couple of other companies
Filled in. So a daisy is, to be a real daisy, it must be 18 inches tall. And I think we should look at, this is, I mean, you know the old song, the song, Cher song, If We Could Turn Back Time? Well, Judy's daisy is actually even better than this daisy in the illustration because hers still has the original Kessner tag on it. And Judy also has the original box that the doll came in, which is in fragile condition.
Very
because
fragile.
It's paper.
Yes. So then they started, these came with, and I unfortunately couldn't find them, with patterns. So you could make the dress for your dolls. And they recommended, maybe your mom can
Have you ever seen them ever for sale, the patterns? No, because they were probably used and thrown away. But here you see how she came in these chemise and the curls. Have you ever seen another besides the Kessner? And this is mold 171, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Have you ever seen any other makers with this chemise?
No.
No. So they may have just given them a doll without matching the
That's
illustrations.
possible. And there's more.
So how long did Daisy have traction?
Oh, they said in the first year she created more than 100,000 subscriptions for them. And they were thrilled, But I'm pretty sure it was a couple of years.
And then it kind of faded out. And so with Sheila Young...
But they kept it going
with the paper dolls.
Yeah,
yes.
with the paper dolls, make clothes for her.
I mean, I love the little Pocahontas costume.
Oh, I know.
And the Pilgrim costume. And
they're adorable.
And do you think that the World War I probably had something to do with the kind of phasing this type of doll out?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
with Germany.
With a loss of German dolls. And then this you should see, really the classic clothes.
That's beautiful. Where did you find these wonderful pieces? Are they ones that you saved?
Oh, these? Yeah, no, I found them in Ladies' Home Journals. You can find each different journal that has them. And I have a whole stack of Ladies' Home Journals.
They're fun reads.
Yeah,
they really are.
But then I started really looking for her particular ones, and I would write and send. And
look at that.
Because you've had these now for many, many years. Yes. I mean, Judy has a couple of times she's shared her Daisy in at the UFDC competitions to just share her. And Judy ends up having to put her phone off the hook in her hotel room because people want to buy
your Daisy.
Her Daisy.
Can we see your Daisy up close?
sure.
How long have you had Daisy?
How long have I had her, Michael?
I bet probably 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the original Kessner label.
That's the original label. And you can see if you just really compare the illustrations, it's exactly the same. The doll has the original stringing, which is a miracle. And then you can see that the elastic in the shoes, elastic eventually gets kind of loose like that, but it's still there. It's really an amazing thing. And the hair in the original
I love
set.
her hair.
Just absolutely phenomenal.
And I mean, you can see that the fabric has the original sizing, which is basically starch, and it's still all there. So you have to wonder, did a child get this doll, or did a grandma that loved dolls just sell a couple of subscriptions or give them a, we don't know why it was never played with.
I had asked Michael how many daisies you had when he said that we were doing this seminar, and he said you have one, but when you have one that's like that, you only need one.
I mean, it would be nice to have one that you could play with.
I have seen other ones that gals have done, and it's darling. They have made some of the dresses at, you know, like UFDC convention, and I love that. I love that.
Playability of
Yes.
it. And here you've got really, if you are a seamstress and are creative, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, over 20 outfits that are suggested. And the thing that about this era, at this time, it is very specific. You know, these large hats that are not, they're big and, you know, it's a little tricky stylistically to stay on point, I think. That's why I think it's hard to find patterns for it, because look at these hats. I mean, they're kind of like, you know, we'd say they're out of proportion to the piece, but that was, you know, this is the time when the Romanov girls were little, and, you know, and the great boom of the, I hate the word dolly face because I think people use that as almost derogatory, but it's the time of the beautiful dolly face where it's very, very pleasing and pretty.
And just for our viewers, when we say dolly face, could you explain that real quick?
Well, a dolly face is I think is usually always is an open mouth doll, which we think of now as a lesser thing. Ask any doll maker today what's harder to do, closed mouth or open mouth. They'll tell you open mouth because you've got to carve out the mouth and put the teeth in. It's much, much more difficult. But I think that a dolly face is just a very pretty, healthy child with rosy cheeks and pink bisque, because if you go back, you know, one generation, dolls are much, much paler. And I think that they're always, don't you, Judy, think that they're always very pleasing? Mm-hmm. They're not intimidating. Where, you know, I could show you some brews in this building that are intimidating. The girl is intimidating. These are not. I think they always have a sweetness. And as Judy and I had a mutual friend, Catherine Weatherly, yes, who was contemporary to Daisy, and as she said about this era, those were sweeter times. Mm-hmm. So the dolls were sweeter, the clothes were sweeter, the manners were sweeter. It was all totally a different time. But Judy, I want to thank you for bringing Daisy. It's always, every time I see her, it's just always a joy to see such a really a perfect thing in a perfect state of preservation.
A museum
and Judy,
example.
It is it is, and
yeah.
And Judy will share it at some point with the Grovian, because that's how we do it here.
Got her.
Well, thank you, Ruby Lane.
Thank you.
We'll see you later today.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Judy. That
And
was
thanks a
wonderful.
lot.
Have a great day.